Hello, everybody, and hello, Sarah. I hope everybody's doing well today. Some really good content earlier, and there's still lots to come after this session too as well. But I wanted to kind of take a moment to, as we were preparing for this day, we wanted to bring in some of our great clients, and one of them is Abell Pest Control. And so we wanted to do a spotlight and talk about kind of the good work that they've done. And so a lot of this will be really casual conversation, so I think you're going to really enjoy it. Rodrigo, you can go to the next slide. So from an agenda, we'll just do a quick intro. We'll do an icebreaker, and we'll invite you to post something into the chat. Then we're going to move into a fireside chat segment, and then we'll do some wrapping up. So it'll be pretty straightforward and fast. So we'll share a lot of things, and Becca will come on at the end as well, and we'll prep for the next segment. So you can move to the next slide. So let's learn about the people here. So hello, Sarah.
Good
How would you
morning.
introduce yourself?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, how about you introduce yourself?
Sure. So I am the Vice President of People Excellence at Abell Pest Control. I've been here 11 years, and I'm so thankful I have been because it is such a fun organization, and Abell itself has been a business for 100 years now. And it's been in business 100 years because of all the great ways we take care of our employees. So I look forward to us jumping into that and some of the fun things we've done over these years.
That's awesome. Rodrigo, hello.
Hey Dale, how's it going?
I'm good.
Yeah. So I'm customer success manager here at Bucket List Rewards. I get the pleasure to work with amazing clients like Sarah and learn a lot of new things from even our software. I have 10 plus years experience in customer service, sales, account management, and marketing. And I'm a true believer that no company will operate to its full potential unless the employees are happy. So you would imagine why I'm working here. So
Awesome. Thanks, Rodrigo. Actually, if you just go back for 1 sec, I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping. So my name is Dale. I'm the VP for Customer Success and Business Services at Bucket List. One of my favorite things is to work with the wonderful people like Rodrigo and the CS team, but also interacting with a lot of our clients. I really get a big kick out of seeing their growth and seeing how, especially on things like LinkedIn posts and things like that, you get to see some awesome things. Today, I'm going to be hosting this, and I'll be turning it over quickly to Rodrigo, but I'll also be monitoring the webinar chat. So if you've got any questions or things like that, if we've got time, we'll be able to insert them in. So I'll be kind of monitoring that and keeping track of that. And so, yeah, you can go ahead, Rodrigo, to the next one. Just kind of as an icebreaker, just to get us started, what's something your organization does well when it comes to rewards and recognition? And so I'll be just kind of monitoring it. But while we're just asking, how about Sarah? What's something that your organization does really well when it comes to rewards and recognition?
You know what? We're very consistent and quick to react. Bucket List is loaded on all of our phones. All of our employees in the company have a cell phone. So as soon as they do something great, we want to recognize and reward them for that, and they're getting that great notification.
Right. That's awesome. Rodrigo, how about you? You're an employee of Bucket List. What's something that you believe that Bucket List does well when it comes to
yeah.
reward and recognition?
It's actually something I really love is we're really good at giving meaningful recognition. So through account management, we always say, make sure you just don't say thank you, say why you're giving a thank you. So yeah, and you should see our activity feed. Sometimes it's huge paragraphs, but they're really meaningful. So I think we do a really good job on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll share something that I've observed when I look at how we use recognition, rewards and recognition. We basically use our own product in-house as well. But one of the cool things that I find is that new employees, when they start in the organization, they start recognizing people within the first day or two. And that's not something that is in, there's no employee handbook that kind of says, oh, thou shalt recognize somebody in the first 24 hours or something like that. It's something that intuitively people do. And I just love that. I think that's really cool. Some of the messages that people have put on there is shout outs and morning huddles, and peer recognition is called out with a number of people. Rewards each quarter, a really important birthday and things like that. And so some just fantastic things that people are adding in there. So yeah, thanks, and keep them coming in the chat. And we love seeing them. Back over to you, Rodrigo.
Awesome. Thanks, Dale. So to start off, we wanted to talk about Abell, of course, and their journey so far with us, but also before us. So Sarah, would you mind just talking a little bit about how this journey started for your rewards and recognition? Yeah.
Sure, I would love to. So perhaps it would help if I painted a picture a little bit of our organization. So we are spread out across North America. We have approximately 650 team members across North America out there protecting the public health and supporting our clients. Unfortunately, when you're a company that's so spread out, those touch points that we have with our employees, whether it be from home office, out in Vancouver or Newfoundland, they're not as frequent as when we see our people on a face-to-face basis. We didn't really have a way for us to foster that recognition from different branches. So what we saw is our company almost operated like silos when it came to recognition. So quality assurance could have a recognition program, but that communication is going strictly from quality assurance to the employee, to that employee's manager. And as a company, we weren't sharing in the success and the great lessons that come with recognizing it and all the great things that our people were doing. And when we first went through the Great Place to Work survey process, we were actually a little shocked, but it was good to learn that we weren't doing a good job recognizing our employees, and it was an area of opportunity for us that we could develop so much more. So we heard about bucket list. We heard about all the great things that had been done. I got to give a shout out to Chloe Valaquette, who was the big champion for bucket list in the first place and introduced us to bucket list. And we went live with bucket list in October 2023. Prior to that, those silo-like recognition programs that we had, we were running different multiple efforts, but there wasn't much conversation between them. There is no consistency. So when people recognize, like I said, we weren't getting to share in that celebration and success. So we rolled out bucket list in October 2023, and it has taken off. When we did our Great Place to Work survey in November 2023, it was definitely one of those most mentioned items. And it's important for us now that when we go on, we're able to maintain almost like a small company feel, despite the fact we're a mid-sized company, because I'm able to reach out and see the successes of my Vancouver team or my Fort Lauderdale team and give them hearts and maybe add some, we call them Pest perks here in our bucket list program. But our senior leadership is always able to do that. So the wonderful thing is when we went out right now, it's our 100th anniversary as a company, and we're going out to all the branches and we're thanking people and we're recognizing all the team members for the great things they do every single day for our clients and our communities. We're able to have a relationship with them already, because I remember that Joe Smith, he helped bring up a customer's garbage bins from their curb up to their garage when he was there to do service work. And I knew that immediately when getting to see him. So it's been really nice because it's a conversation starter in the first place when we're getting there, because we're not able to always get out to the branches. But it's so much more. And it's funny, I think you all told me this when we went through the program, that it's not the money or the perks that you're giving them, it's that acknowledgement and the recognition. And it's so true for many people. The money is a nice plus to have on the side, but that recognition is meaning a lot to them. And we see that when we recognize our people and we're putting it out there, they're often sending us an email back just saying, hey, I was having a rough day and I got this, and that really meant a lot to me. So thank you very much. I've been really proud of the uptick in the company since we rolled it out. Rodrigo, I know I've gone to you and I said, oh my golly, this uptick is actually too much. Like, are there other ways that I could look at my screen so I can keep up on everything? I think at the beginning, I set this goal for myself that I was going to like and respond to every single acknowledgement in the company with a customized comment. And I was quickly shown, when we really leaned into this recognition side of things, how much recognition is coming in. So, I've had to scale back that expectation of myself, but it's been absolutely wonderful. And what we've seen since we've done it is Our NPS scores are increasing, and we had great scores before, but even more so because we're celebrating those NPS scores. We're celebrating those great customer touch points that our employees are having, which just continues to solidify the relationship between us and the client.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing, Sarah. And yeah, for sure, especially you launched near the holidays, that period, I saw the activity feed and it was going crazy. It was very hard to keep up. So it's a good problem to have, to be honest, because
Exactly. I agree.
fully engaged for sure. And then I included some photos in this slide just for everyone watching. So the first photo, as you can see, it's a conference. And Abell Pest Control had a management session, and Sarah, you could maybe explain a little bit the reason for it. But we were present there to basically share why recognition is good for leaders, for managers. Sarah, any insight to this session?
Yeah, so recognition is so important on the employee life cycle. So it was important for us when we hold an annual managers conference every January, and we brought all our managers in from across North America to ensure the bucket list was there. And I think you did the session after lunch, which is always the hardest session to host, but Jessica did it amazing, and everybody was super engaged, and it was one of our top scored sessions as well for the week. So good job, bucket list.
Amazing. And then the photo on the right, it's a Christmas parade that Abell did. But Sarah, I don't think I shared this with you. That person, I don't remember the name of the actual employee, but one of our employees actually know him because I shared
That's
the
amazing.
photo internally. And yeah, it's just an awesome initiative, especially for the holiday season.
That's amazing. Well, it's a really fun way for our people to get involved in the community. Their children love it. They get to pass out candy canes, and we get to have a little fun around the holiday season.
Yeah, amazing. Awesome. So I'm going to move forward and we're going to start our fireside questions. So first question is a story where recognition had a significant effect on employee morale, performance, or overall company culture. Sarah, would you mind commenting on this?
Sure. So I actually have two stories, and one of them predates bucket list. So just in our previous rewards and recognition system is we have something that's called President's Club, and it's this really fun gala where we celebrate some of our top employees in the company, and they're able to bring their spouse, and we fly them in from across North America. Well, this always seemed to be the place where people got engaged, and there is multiple people across the company that got engaged in this amazing recognition event that we would hold. So that's one of my favorites. I actually just learned that recently. So I wasn't ever there at one of the engagements, but I loved that. It just creates a fun story here for us. But otherwise, our favorite thing every single year, and it really leans into our culture of caring about our team members and caring about our community and caring about our clients, is what we do around the holiday season, and it's called the 12 days of giving. And the 12 days of giving starts off with a surprise. I think our employees might expect it at this point now, with a $500 taxes paid holiday bonus to every single team member. It doesn't matter if they just started the day prior. Everybody gets this great award. And then it's 11 days following, or all the days following, there's a new surprise that comes up on bucket list. So everybody wakes up in the morning and all those awards go out at noon, and they get to hear about the new fun thing that's being delivered to their inbox. And it's based around things like giving back to our team members as a thank you for their hard work over the years. But it's also things like, we hold stocking decoration contests, and then people can decorate stockings, and then they can win $3,500 worth of points to go on a vacation with their family. So people are sending in their decorated stockings and all these fun things, or cookie decorating contests, or we encourage people to take that $500 bonus that we're paying out and shop local and show us that they're shopping local by taking selfies or showing us what they bought, whether it be cool guitars, hockey equipment, and posting it and celebrating it. And then they can win. I think we were giving out $500 gift cards last year for that too, for that involvement. So it's this really great time of the year where, as a company and as a culture, we just celebrate all the great things and all the blessings of the holiday season, but also are sure to give back to the community as well. So 12 days of giving, I think, and bucket list helps to make that possible, is our greatest cultural impact, I would say, on an annual basis, and the most look forward to, that's for sure. A very small group of us know what's going to be done every single year, and it is the hardest secret every year in my career to keep.
Awesome. And you know, Sarah, when those awards were delivered in the holiday season, we actually monitor redemptions, and we saw that, and we were like, "Is this real? Like, it's a lot of points." But yeah, awesome initiative to promote the holiday season. And internally here at Bucket List, we have this thing called Outstanding Contributor of the Quarter. So it's a quarterly award that employees nominate who deserves to be, recognized for the quarter, and it has a good chunk of points. So initially, we would just go into the product, submit a nomination, but only the company administrators and HR leaders are able to see the nominations. This then changed, and it actually came from client feedback. They were starting to post publicly on the activity feed the actual reason for the nomination. So when we started doing that, it's firstly just amazing to see the stories you see, because Dale and I probably work closely together. There's other employees in the company that we don't know what's going on in the team, right? So it's just amazing to see those nominations, very, very heartwarming messages. But then the other thing is there was one winner, but through the submission of the nominations in the actual activity feed, people were starting to boost points, so give additional points. So in the end, probably there were like 30 something nominations. Everybody received points, so everybody was a winner. So it was an awesome initiative, very inclusive. So that's why I honestly loved it. But yeah, this is just an amazing story. And anybody watching this, please share your comments on stories that you've seen internally in your companies. Awesome. Now, moving forward to our next question. So how do you ensure that your rewards and recognition initiatives resonate with organizational values? What role has rewards and recognition played in your journey becoming a great place to work? Sarah, any comments here?
That is a great question. So Abell, as a company, is a premium pest control product. We're protecting food plants, we're protecting restaurants, and providing that premium service is something that we constantly want to foster, recognize, and reward with our people. So ensuring that we're providing that recognition helps to continue to provide that service to our clients. So it's been very, very important to us. But at the core of our being, everything that we do at Abell is based around just profound care. And that's for our clients, our communities, and our team members. So we want to recognize and reward people for every aspect of care that they do, whether it's helping a fellow technician out in the field pick up some service work at the end of the month because they're really busy, or if it's helping the community by volunteering their time. All of our rewards are really based around fostering that sense of care, whether it be the clients, the community, or each other. So it's been monumental in continuing to foster that, that's for sure, and that unparalleled customer service. And when it comes to part of the journey and the Great Place to Work process, like I said, when we first ran the first year of the Great Place to Work certification, our feedback from our employees was that we could improve on our recognition program. And it's not a reward thing, it's recognition. We needed to recognize our people better. So it was really good to get that feedback and action it. That has facilitated a more positive culture. Our people are feeling, and we just ran that Great Place to Work survey again in November last year, and our people are feeling that our management are doing a better job. We are seeing reductions in turnover rates. We are seeing our seniority tenure increase as well. It is so nice to have those Great Place to Work results that we're able to compare year over year and see that increase. And the great thing with the results as well, and I'm a huge Great Place to Work fan, so if Allison's still on this call, I'll take like one of those cubes as a swag, as a thank you. But it's also great to see because we can almost correlate our managers that might not be as active on Bucket List with more below average scores when it comes to the recognition and rewards on their Great Place to Work survey results. So it's something that we're able to provide feedback on and development so that they can help improve. And really, we're monitoring our bucket list, and we're running those reports to see, is the feedback being provided equitable across the company at a branch level, down at the employee level as well? Are we being fair and equal amongst everyone? I heard Allison, that all of us have A players on our team, and it's so easy to constantly reward them because they're constantly delivering. But there's so many other great players that sometimes their contributions we're not paying as much attention to, because those A players are always knocking it out of the park. And spending time and recognizing those people that are consistent performers, we're actually seeing them go up to be A performers as well, which has been really wonderful to see. So, we had comments of the concern of, are we just giving out participation trophies at this time? And it's not the case at all. We do want to celebrate people for just doing their job, and that's okay. And what we see when we do that, they are progressing. We are seeing growth in their route development. They're having higher NPS scores. Those steady eddies are becoming our A players as well.
And then also very important, rewards and recognition program does not have to be a popularity contest. If it becomes that, it's not right. That's not going to be success. On my end, three points on how to have a good rewards and recognition program. So first is understand the organizational values. If the software allows you to tie a core value to a recognition, that's amazing. But then also, apart from that, understand the use of the core values. So for example, through recognition, if you're seeing that all the core values are customer oriented, like customer service oriented, but you want to shift that to like teamwork, start to do initiatives that are going to shift towards teamwork. Often you would see like, okay, our team is amazing in customer service, but then probably we're not good team players. So when you understand the use of the core values, it's actually really important that sometimes leaders do not recognize through a rewards and recognition platform. So that's one. And then the other is customize your rewards and recognition program to be unique to your company and your employees. Like have your DNA inside of the actual platform or project that you're using. Have unique awards, have unique periods of recognition, unique campaigns, pretty much anything that if you see a software or a product or a program, to immediately know this is for Abell Pest Control, and you would actually see it in Abell's platform. And then the other very, very important part is leadership buy-in and demonstration. So leaders need to lead by example. If that doesn't happen, I've seen this constantly, engagement will not go up. It will not go up. And even though the program is there, employees will not use it. When leaders demonstrate the behaviors and the organizational values being used, it will set a clear example for everyone else to follow. And for example, you have a sales leader and they need, let's say, a sales award to incentivize sales to their team. Reach out to your HR leader, reach out to your VP of HR to ask, hey, could we create a outstanding sales performer of the quarter? So just, you have a tool, but you can actually customize it. So make sure to get heard to the needs of your company and your team. Awesome. And then we have the last question here in our fireside chat, and I see we have lots of comments coming in. So an organization look to enhance their rewards and recognition strategies. What advice or key principles would you recommend they prioritize? And are there any pitfalls or challenges you have encountered along the way that others should be mindful of? Sara, comments on this?
Well, yeah, first, I think you need to identify, first, you should have your values, frankly, but then identify the behaviors that tie back to those values that you want to reward and celebrate. That took us the most time. If we're saying that one of our values is the ultimate care for the client, what does that look like? What are the behaviors so that if somebody just sees an Abell member and they see them do something like, like the example I said, where they bring the trash cans up to their client's garage. They're not asked to do it. They're just deciding to do it, that's something that we want to recognize. The little touch points throughout the customer experience, if, for example, would be a behavior that we want to reward and celebrate. And then we put some guidelines essentially to our management team where we're saying we want this to be equitable. You should be looking at your employee list every month and saying, okay, did I acknowledge that person this month? What great thing did they do this month too? And that took quite a bit of time bouncing that back and forth through the management team and making sure that it's something that everybody would be able to do. For us, when we looked at going forward with recognition, we had the question, okay, is it just going to be our management that's going to have points that they're able to give, or are we going to allow our employees to give points as well? And our decision is that our managers would be able to give the points out to people, but if we saw employees recognizing each other in the system, it would be the role of as managers and the leadership team to support that by adding Pest perks to that as well. So we do support that peer-to-peer recognition, and it's something that when somebody is onboarded, we're training them immediately on their first day is celebrating each other and about that. But I think for us, what we had to do when we were looking to enhance it was look at the behaviors that we're looking to reward and celebrate that took the most time, put the guidelines together, put our budget together as well. If we were going to spend money on this, how much were we going to plan to spend every year? And then when it came time to actually roll out the system, I thought this was going to be quick, and the bucket list thing was great, but plan time for training your people on the operation side as well, because if we wanted that uptick to be quick, that wasn't going to be realistic. We wanted hands-on training with each person, and that's what we did. We spent a lot of time doing it, and because of that, people were very confident going into the system. So that was just something that we had to be mindful of. And I think that would probably be the challenge that we face the most, is we thought we would be up and running in 2 to 3 months, and it wasn't on you. It was all on us, because we had to define all those items, and it took so much more time.
That's awesome.
Sorry, go on, Dale.
No, I was actually finish with your thought. But I'll have a question after that kind of relates to some of the chats.
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to enhancing our rewards and recognition, is we celebrate recognition at every meeting we have to, and we have quite a few meetings, whether it be on Teams or in person with all of our service staff as well. And we'll use it for, Rodrigo, you talked about for training as well. So we might do something like a spill cleanup scenario where they need to clean up some water that's been spilled, and how that all works. And we'll reward people for getting it done perfectly, or who can do it most effectively, the quickest. So it adds some gamification in, and it becomes a lot of fun for people too.
That's awesome. There was a discussion on the previous slides around some of the strategies that you've done around like the 12 days of Christmas and things like that. How do you, from a strategy standpoint, kind of look for opportunities to broaden the inclusiveness, like different types of groups of employees in your team? Of course, you said you've got employees in the US, employees in Canada. In Canada, we have lots of holidays. In the United States, there's kind of key holidays around, major days like Memorial Day and things like that. Can you share a little bit about how you've evolved your strategies around that?
Sure. So when it comes to holidays, if you're speaking about holidays specifically, we do give floating days and such, so that we are equitable on both sides of the border, both for our Canadian and American team members, and understand that those floating days that are provided as well, and this is over and above their vacation or PTO, they can be used for other holidays that are more suitable for them and their family as well. So if they celebrate holidays are outside of the ones that the government tells us to shut down, they can use those and then celebrate it too.
I think maybe the questions were around, like, how do you get inclusiveness through recognitions in general, especially with different groups of employees?
Right. Well, I think just recognizing people equally, like I said, when we go through the list and we make sure that we're not missing anybody on a monthly basis, so that it's fair, is something that we're mindful about doing.
Right. What about you, Rodrigo? Like, how do you find kind of ensuring that you're that you're including as many people as possible, and you're never going to get everybody on every strategy that you have, but maybe some ideas that you might have as well.
Yeah, this is actually a perfect segue for me. I had 3 talking points on this
Oh,
question.
there you go.
Inclusive recognition. So initially I said this is not a popularity contest. Make sure you never forget that. But then also ensure that recognition efforts include everyone. You have diverse backgrounds, cultures, even work styles as well. But then through feedback, ask your teams, like, what do you want? What do you like? What do you don't like? And through feedback, you're gonna be able to mold your rewards and recognition program to that. Of course, I think we even Alison in the session before, you won't be able to make everyone happy, but the idea is to listen to feedback and make the program as inclusive as you can, especially with now, it's a very important part of a work culture. Also, know your teams, as I mentioned. Make sure the reward and recognition program is tailored to individual preferences through feedback. If you ask the question, how do you like this? You're going to receive feedback. Do employees like private versus public recognition? Alison mentioned this topic, and it's actually very important. And somebody shared a comment about a book, which I actually will need to read. It's 5 Languages of Recognition, I think it is. But yeah, some employees like to receive public recognition, others prefer private recognition. Some employees rather receive a gift card versus receive points for an experience. So know your teams. That for me, it's key in the development and management of a rewards and recognition program. And then the other very important part is make sure it's frequent and timely recognition. So as soon as acknowledge an achievement as soon as possible to reinforce the desired behaviors from the employees. And if you're on time, just put in a reminder in your calendar. I do that all the time because, of course, we have a specific number of points that we can give out every week. If I don't have points, I would put reminder to recognize Dale because he's awesome. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a question that is being asked a couple of different ways, and I'm gonna elaborate on it as well. One of the questions was probably a problem that a lot of organizations have right now around remote workers. Like, how do you ensure that they're participating in your recognition program and in essence participating in your engagement or your culture. But I think there's also not just remote workers, but it's also regional workers as well. I'll pass it to you, Sarah, first. Is like, can you give us some thoughts? Like, we've obviously seen a change in the world in the last 4 or 5 years. There's more workers in different locations, maybe remote workers. How have you kind of approached that from, ensuring that there's that you're bringing as many people into the same kind of space, and also that recognitions are crossing borders or crossing work styles or things like that? Can you give your thoughts on that?
Definitely. And that's one of our biggest challenges. At the end of the day, our pest control technicians take their trucks home. So for 600 staff members, they're not seeing another coworker every single day. They might see their coworkers once a month, and they might just see 1 or 2 of them. It's just the nature of how we're spread out across North America. So that has been our biggest challenge. And when it comes to our office staff, our support staff, we do a hybrid. Some are fully remote, some choose to be in the office too. And what we make sure to do is we us leaders lead by example. So we're sure to show that I am recognizing, our CCS, our client care specialist over in Vancouver, or Brett McKillop, our president, is acknowledging Joe Smith down in Ohio for their work. And we've seen that when we've been doing that, our management will do it as well. So our branch managers are recognizing and rewarding our accounts receivable clerks, for example, in Toronto, for the hard work that they do to collect on accounts. That historically we were not strong at before. And through putting a system in place, it has strengthened us so much more and helped with some of those issues where it's ops versus home office or head office, where there can kind of be that battling that can take place sometimes, but showing more acknowledgement and support for the team. But if it first started with we had to do the behaviors that we were hoping others would pick up, and we talk about doing it as well, and we ask people to save 10% of their points to recognize those people that maybe aren't out in the field. Because for us, when we're talking about the equitable nature of our business, pest control technicians are the largest part of our workforce, and they're the rock stars out there with bed bugs and cockroaches. And when you think about rewards and recognition, your first mind goes to help the people and reward the people that are dealing with some of those icky things and protecting the public health. And it can mean, forgetting about our client care specialists and our accounts receivable. So it was important for us to say, nope, save 10% of your points and make sure that you recognize those people that are supporting the great work that's being done in operations.
Yeah, that's great. It reminds me of we have a recognition program assessment offering, and in one of the focus groups, one of the participants said, I actually value recognitions from another team more than I value the ones from my team. And they said, I love the ones that come from my team, but when it's somebody that I don't really know very well, it means a lot more to me. So I think that's an awesome approach to it. Rodrigo, I'll pass it back to you, but if you have any other thoughts on this, and then you can kind of move forward.
Yeah, this sort of like boundaries, like US, Canada, sometimes something as simple as if you have a sales award, like outstanding sales person of the quarter, have one for the US and have one for Canada.
Right.
Of course, even like have one for remote workers, have one for in-person workers. So just make sure you're inclusive. That's just part of the whole part of being inclusive recognition rewards.
You have to convert the points to lower value for the Canadian.
Exactly.
I could talk to that actually.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Why don't you jump in? That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was something when we went through the 12 days of giving. All of a sudden we were like, oh golly, those 2,500, which is equal to $25 of points that we just gave to our Canadian team members. What does that mean for US team members? And it was our decision to make sure that if we're providing our American team members $25 worth, we're providing our Canadians $25 worth,
exactly.
right?
No, that you don't want to sit there and do the math on the fly, right?
That's right. That's right.
Awesome.
Awesome. So those are our fireside questions. So just moving forward.
Yeah. So maybe so Rodrigo, if you want to just kind of if you and Sarah would just want to give some final kind of thoughts, and I'll just be monitoring the questions too as well. I'll have one in a second, but you go ahead first.
Perfect. Thanks, Dale. So for me, there's two main key takeaways. First one is make sure your rewards and recognition program is unique for both the company, but also the employee. And what do I mean here? So for the company, yes, everybody celebrates work anniversaries, everybody celebrates birthdays, but make sure these celebrations portray the actual company's DNA. From small things to like the badge in the actual recognition has the Abell logo, or the bucket list logo, right? Make sure it's unique to the company identity, right? And then for the employee, this is a very trending topic, make recognition inclusive, meaningful, and tailored to the individual. So not everyone likes public recognition. Some people might prefer a private recognition, and not everybody wants an Amazon gift card. I do, but not everybody wants it, right? And then the other key takeaway, I think, it's lead by example. Managers, if you want a change in your rewards and recognition, and I'm talking actually to managers if they're in here in this session, if you want something changed in the program, say something, right? If you want a new award to reward wellness activities, say something, right? Make sure to speak out. Not only will this promote more employee engagement, but it will actually enhance the employee experience because you're the ones that know your team, right? And we see that, like, even internally, the development team here at Bucket List has some awesome awards that we should implement as well for CS. But yeah, make sure you know your team and just speak out what you want to see on your rewards and recognition program.
Awesome. Sarah, maybe if you want to give kind of some a few last thoughts, and then I've got a couple of more questions just to ask you and Rodrigo. So go ahead first, and then I've got a couple of things to ask that some of the chat has brought up.
Yeah, I love all of Rodrigo's points, and I agree 100% with him. I think that, for many small businesses, when they're looking at maybe onboarding a rewards and recognition program or starting to have that conversation, the first place that the mind goes is, oh my golly, how much am I going to have to spend here? Am I going to get a return on this investment? And I'm not just talking about perhaps the software investment, but recognizing and rewarding people with tangible gifts. And I think it's really important to stress that you can start small. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's that the aspect of recognizing somebody for hard work that really is making the impact on the culture. And if you're able to allocate a little bit of budget, and put a reward aspect to that too, like that's great. But don't hold yourself back just because you don't have a huge budget to be rewarding people with every recognition. I think you can start small, and just recognizing people will start to push your culture in the company forward.
Awesome. I got two comments. They're totally independent, but there's probably a theme kind of between them. The first one is, and this will kind of draw on maybe your history of working at Abell, because I think you said 10 years you've been at Abell total, correct?
11. Yep.
Yeah, 11 years. So prior to COVID, there were probably different practices. And a lot of people in the chat were like commenting on a lot of the great recognitions that you don't see in every organization anymore. Like, hey, we're going to bring everybody into the lunchroom, or we're going to celebrate, and here's some cake and cookies. And I remember working with a contact center transformation years ago. And they always talked about working here is like gaining 5 pounds every year. There's always, there's always a lot of food around. Well, how have you kind of made that step for maybe some of the things historically that Abell would have done in those face-to-face type of things? And how have you kind of moved that into maybe the environment that has changed somewhat, especially when food and things like that are not there, or that face-to-face kind of connections are not there on a regular basis? If you can kind of share a little bit about how you've seen that journey change.
Yeah, that definitely has been a challenge for us. We were a heavy food, we had potlucks all the time. We had cake every single month to celebrate all the birthdays. So I did lose weight over COVID. I was one of those people, thankfully for me. But we just changed. We evolved, and it was great because it allowed us to be more inclusive with our remote staff and our staff that are spread out across North America. It wasn't just a one location thing where we were celebrating something. We celebrated it with everybody. So, for example, we like to celebrate World Honeybee Day, which is on August the 8th, because we do a lot of fundraising, and we donate quite a bit to pollinator research at the University of Guelph. So with that partnership, all of the research, we send out honey to all of our team members across North America. And, we have people take selfies with their honey and give us great honey recipes. And then we'll send out that recipe book across the North America as well for everybody to try some new honey recipes. So we've just evolved and we've changed it. And there are no or low cost ways that we do things. We'll have, it might be like take a picture of a bug day at work, and everybody will take a selfie or take a picture of a cool bug and send it in, and we celebrate that. And it's just, sometimes it's getting to know the names that are across the company, and we'll post those on Bucket List as well, and people can star it and throw in some pest perks, or heart it and throw in pest perks.
That's cool. I know, I think it's a client that Rodrigo supports, is they've got pick the music for the day, redemption type of thing. And those are kind of cool. It doesn't cost the organization anything, but it's something that's very personal to the employee. Another one that some chat questions are around is, how do you encourage leaders to participate in the recognitions on a regular basis? Because I remember in when we did the assessment, of one of the leadership interviews, as a leader said, "Hey, when I joined, I recognized a lot, and then I got busy." And I think every organization's got aspects of that. Is that we sometimes don't express the same appreciation when we're really busy than we do when we've got the time. And who's got the time anymore? Can you maybe share a little bit around how you've kind of addressed that in your organization?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So there's a couple ways that we support that. One is, it's part of our leadership's review process, is we're looking at how many recognitions they provided, the quality of those recommendations too. There's essentially a scorecard that we use with our management team, where we can say, like, you're doing great with recognitions, you could maybe do better in this point. And then we do that every quarter so people can pivot and adjust. We also constantly monitor the system. So we have an HR department who, there's a person that takes ownership of the system each month, and they're responsible for making sure the feedback that's being provided is strong feedback, so people are being acknowledged for behaviors. They're not just being like, hey, you're a great guy, and that's the acknowledgement, but identifying the behavior, saying what they did was right. And they're also monitoring things like, is it equitable? And also, are our managers using their points? I love that the bucket list system, I think it's 5 days or 10 days prior to the end of the month, sends out that reminder email to our management team as well if they have a certain amount of points still available in their bank to reward to people. That reminder as well, what I'll normally see at the end of the month is there's a spike in recognition as well. So like, I think that would be coming out anytime now, and I can see a big spike on our bucket list page as of this morning as well.
Awesome.